Pirkei
Avos.
Pirkei Avos. Yesterday we also learned very nicely, but for some reason I did not make a copy of it. But that's okay. Let's go. Now we're learning about Shimon ben Shetach. Mishnah number Chet. Yesterday we learned the Mishnah about Nitai Arbeli that said keep away from a bad neighbor. Don't join evil people even when they're successful. And don't worry, justice will come. Injustices will always come. We learned about that yesterday. Let's go. Mishnah Chet. Very interesting personality here. We have Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shetach kiblu mihem. Now, like I said before, we learned this last time, that the Torah was given by God to Moshe, and Moshe gave it over to Yoshua, to Joshua, and Joshua gave it over because the elders, those were all the judges and things like that before the first temple. And then the first temple, during the first temple, there were the prophets. And then after that, they were given to the people of the Great Assembly. And that lasted like into the middle of the second temple. And then they gave over to these, what we call the partners, the Zugot. One of these partners was what's called the Nasi. He was the head of the Sanhedrin. And the other one was called the Av Beit Din. He was his assistant. So here we already had two sets of these partners. We had Yossi ben Yezer and Yossi ben Yochanan. That was the first one. And then we have Yeshua ben Parachia and Nitar Bailey. That was the second one. And now we're learning the third set of partners. Okay, see where we are? There we go. Yes. Ches. Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shetach received from them. From who? From Nitai Bailey and Yeshua ben Parachia. Yeshua ben Parachia, by the way, it says that Yeshua ben Parachia, he was the teacher of Yashkala. Let's go. Let's look in here. Beor Ches. Yehuda ben Parachia. We're learning the explanation of Kahati. I think you had that somewhere. Didn't you have it somewhere? All right, not important. Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shetach. That was the third pair. One of them was the head of the Sanhedrin, and one of them was his assistant. Omdu Barosh Sanhedrin, Gam came be made. This was in the days of Yanai HaMelech, of Yanai, King Yanai. King Yanai, eventually he killed all the Chachamim, except for Shimon ben Shetach. Shimon ben Shetach was his wife's brother. V'acharav, and afterwards he lived in the days of his wife, Malka Shlomit. After Yanai HaMelech, his wife, there was a sister. Here we go. The Shimon ben Shetach. Shimon ben Shetach was the brother of the queen. So it said that the queen, they blinded him, the king Yanai. Kishe Harag Yanai and Chachma Yisrael, when Yanai killed all of the wise men of Israel because he was afraid that they would depose him. He wasn't really a king. Wasn't supposed to be anyway. Hichbiyato achoto, his sister, Reb Shimon ben Shetach's sister, hid him away, told him to go run away and hide. Vehodot hashpat amalka al baala, and because the queen Shlomit, who was the sister of Shimon ben Shetach, had a good influence on her husband, Yotzei la'achar zman mimachbo, he was able to come out from his hiding place. V'chazer l'shevet b'toch Sanhedrin, he could sit in the Sanhedrin. Shekol chaverea hayu mikat tzadukim. Said by this time Yanai, the king Yanai, he killed all of the wise men. They were called the Perushim, right? Which nowadays is used in they say it in a not nice way. That's because of the influence of the church. That the Pharisees were the bad guys. The Pharisees were like Rabbi Akiva. They were the big tzaddikim, the Pharisees, the Perushim. They were the big tzaddikim. And Hillel, and I'm sorry, and Yanai HaMelech had them all killed. And he was supported by the tzaddukim. He was supported by the tzaddukim, which the tzaddukim, if you remember before, they came out with tzaduk and bitus. They kind of came out and they were the pupils we said before, earlier in the, they went out the Tarbut Ra. What was it? Bram, but Rov Chachmato. So if so, here we have Shimon ben Shetach, that he escaped certain death. All of his friends had been killed by this king. And he was put back into the Sanhedrin. And he was now in Sanhedrin, he was surrounded by just enemies. All these people hated him. They were all the Tzedukim. The Tzedukim did not believe in any explanations of the oral Torah. Really, they wanted to just knock out the whole Torah. That's really what they wanted. Something like we have today, the Reform Jews, the conservative Jews, they would like to just do away with all the commandments, But Shimon ben Shetach, with his tremendous wisdom, Haskil Chachmato, his skill, Lahotzi, he cleverly evicted all of the Tzedukim from the Sanhedrin, and he put in their places wise men from the Perushim, which he was one. Perushim means they separated from bad things in the world. And this he returned the crown of the Torah back to its proper place. Az shalach achar Yehuda ben Tabai. Then he sent after Yehuda ben Tabai, she barach Alexander, that he also ran away from Yanai. He was another one that survived the decrees of Yanai that was killing everybody, and he ran away to Alexandria in Egypt. There was a big Jewish community in Egypt. Veshneim, and both of them, Yehuda ben Tabai and Shimon ben Shetach, Amdu Barosh Sanhedrin, they stood over and controlled the Sanhedrin, the great court that was in the Holy Temple. Upalo latikunam shel chayei Torah, and they fixed up and repaired the life of the Jews according to the Torah. Obarosha brishona samu libam latikuno shel mishpat. The first thing that they did was fix up the court system. Ulechidush kavodo b'karav am, and to renew the honor of the whole court system and the judges in the eyes of the people. In other words, that the court was doing only what God wants. They didn't care about any other considerations. And if you consider that God is pretty good, I mean, he creates the whole world. So therefore, the people now restored their trust in the judicial system. And now our Mishnah brings the words of Yehuda ben Tabai. What did Yehuda ben Tabai? Shahoro Ketzad Yitalich Hadayan in Balidin. How a judge should act with the litigants, Yachasu Aleim, and how he should treat them. Ready? Let's go. Yehuda ben Tabai said, Al ta'as atzmecha ka'orche dayanim. Do not make your judges. We're talking to the judges. Judge, don't make yourself into a lawyer. What does it mean like a lawyer? Let's look and see. Rashi, the Kahati. Yehuda ben Tabai v'Shimon ben Shetach kiblu mihem. Yoshua ben Parachia. Who did they receive from? From Yehuda ben Parachia, the previous ones, Netar Abaili. So Yehuda ben Tabai received from them. Yehuda ben Tabai said, Al ta'az atzmecha ka'orchei adanim. Do not make yourself into a lawyer. What does a lawyer do? A lawyer, malamdim et baladin, they teach the litigants ketzad liton, what you should say. She'asur l'dayan, it is forbidden for a judge to mix in to the claims of the litigants. Legalot dino le'echad mibali adin v'lomerlo, and say to him, what are you saying that for? Don't say that. Don't say that you were there. Say that you think you were there. Tehei ton kachokaf. You just say like this. Shetizka bedino. Then you'll take the Fifth Amendment. Don't say that. Take Fifth Amendment in America means that you can say you don't have to testify against yourself. They made in the Constitution of America that you can't torture. If you torture a person and he admits that he testifies against himself, that's no good. A person doesn't have to testify against himself. You can take the Fifth Amendment. It's called so the judge shouldn't say to the litigants, tell me, are you guilty? Did you steal the money from this person? Don't say anything. Just say, I'll take the Fifth Amendment. Don't do that. If you say like this, then you'll win. Even if you know that this person is really innocent, don't help him out. Because if you do it, why not help him out? Because by means of this, because by means of this, it weakens the whole status of the judges. Good, now you're helping somebody that you really believe is innocent, and it's clear to you that he's innocent. But maybe you're doing it because you took money from him. Maybe he's a relative. Maybe you want a favor from him in the future. Maybe your motivations. One thing for sure, you helped you favored one of the litigants over the other one. A judge is not allowed to do that. Even though he's sure the person is right, he's sure the person is true, a judge is not supposed to show any favoritism. Don't be like Arche Dayanim. Some people say Arche Hadayanim, namely, Kegodol Shebedayanim. Don't make yourself into one of the Arche Dayanim means the biggest. Don't try to think that you're the greatest judge in the world. I know what the law is. Right? How do they say in Israel? Chick-chack. Quickly, people come in front of me, said, I did this. Says, you're guilty, you're innocent. Right? Look in the books. Think about it. Here are everybody's claims. Don't make yourself like that. That comes from the book Avos Rabbi Natan. Some people say a little different explanation. Don't try to make yourself like the greatest judge in the world, that you force people that they should come to you. Right? Don't make it say, listen, I'm the biggest judge in the world. You want to get a real judgment? Don't go in front of these other judges. They won't really give you the truth. You're only going to get the truth from me. You try to force people, bribe people, whatever it is, maybe pay off the police, that people should come in front of you. You should be a popular judge. Oh, Shemedubar Khan, but Talmid Yoshid, that's a third explanation. Right? First is don't give advice to one of the people. Right? The other one, don't give advice to one of the second one is don't think that you're greater than the other judges so that they have to accept your opinion and that you can just judge quickly. Number three, don't think you're greater than other judges and you try to force everyone to come in front of you. Another explanation is, it's not talking about a judge, it's talking about a pupil that's sitting in front of his rabbi. A pupil should not make himself like he knows everything. That you say to your rabbi, this is the way the law is, this is the way I understand it. Don't make yourself like you're the biggest judge and you understand what's going on. In any case, don't do any of these things. When the litigants are standing before you, they should be like they are guilty. Everything everybody says, you suspect. Maybe you're not saying the truth. Ask him questions to try to prove the person if he has an answer for every single situation. Don't say, oh, he said that, I believe him. No. One of the litigants says something. Oh, really? You were there at that time? Then how do you explain this? And how can you explain this? You don't believe either one of them. Maybe he's lying, maybe he's lying, maybe he's lying. You don't say, oh, he looks like he's telling the truth, he's telling the truth. Wait until after you hear all the claims, right? Suspect everybody, till afterwards you hear all the claims, then you can come to a proper judgment. Suspect that each one of them is lying. By means of this, then you'll ask them good questions. And you'll stand everything in the truth. Because if you say this person, oh, he's probably telling the truth, you won't ask him so many questions. I take it, I'll accept what you say. No, don't accept what the person says. It says, how do I know you're telling the truth? Are you sure? Where were you? What were you wearing? What was the other person wearing? What time was it? It says there was chakiros and drishas. They have to ask him a lot of questions. But that's talking about when, before the case is decided. But after you've heard the sides of all the litigants, and you make your decision, they should both be in your eyes like they are innocent. The one who was the bad guy, he received his punishment, and the other one received the money. The one that received the punishment, that's all. You say, from now on, he's not going to do any more bad. after they accepted upon themselves the law, Tadun afachayev, you should say, even the guilty person, now you should judge him favorably. And we said that before, done as chavir called done kol adam l'kav zachut. Done, judge him favorably. Shema toeh haya bedato v'lo nitkaven legozel k'yotzi b'zeh. He did it on purpose, and we see that the Rebbe was the greatest of this, right? Even a Jew that purposely does sins, he goes against God 100%. There was the famous story with the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, that someone came up to him and said, Rebbe, I'm an apikoros. And the Rebbe said, an apikoros? An apikoros has to know the whole Torah, has to be clear about the whole Torah, has to know Kabbalah. He says, you're just an ignoramus. You're an amoritz. You don't know anything. What do you know? You know a Gemara, half of a Gemara, you know 2 words and what something about Kabbalah. Something you don't know it. You don't know anything. You're doing sins directly against Hashem. You have no idea what God is. That's why you're doing the sins, because you're just ignorant. Right? He says, therefore, after a person receives his punishment, you should treat him as though he is, try to make excuses for him and say, from now on, he won't do the same thing again. Mishnah Tes. Shimon ben Shetach Omar. Shimon ben Shetach said, Havi marbe lachkorasa edim, make a lot of, question the witnesses clearly. Now, before we were talking about the litigants, now we're talking about the witnesses. Witnesses come in and they say, we saw Joe steal $100 from Shmerel. We saw him do it. You're a judge, you should ask him a lot of questions. Let's see, we'll talk about this. Have zehir b'davrecha, you have to be very careful with your words. Shema mitochem, that maybe from them, yilmadu l'shakir, the witnesses will know what to say. You'll be directing the witnesses and they'll understand, right, how they should make a lie, how they could lie or not. Are you sure that there was proper lighting? Maybe there wasn't proper lighting and you couldn't see properly. Was there, from this they know that they could say, no, there was proper lighting. For sure there was proper lighting. Right? You should know. And as you led them already, so that you know what they want to hear, what you want to hear. Let's do the beginning of the Kahati here. Shimon ben Shetach Omer, Shimon ben Shetach said, Havi mar belach korata edim, she'al yedei chakira, by means of, questioning them, questioning the witnesses, v'hadrisha, and making, there's a different type of questioning. In other words, what day it was, instead of what place it was. Tocha levorer im edi emeto, you can know if they were true or they weren't. Right? What color was the man's hat? You saw him steal $100 from this. What color was his hat? What color were his shoes? Right? Really, about how tall would you say he was? How did he look? What was he? Did he say anything? Did you hear? The heavy zehir b'davrach. You have to be careful in your words. When you are questioning, interrogating the witnesses, be careful. Shema mitochem, because maybe from your questions you can teach them how to lie. Mitoch devarecha yavinu, the witnesses will learn what is in your heart. V'yalamdu lomar davorim shelo hayu kadei l'zakot b'din. It'll teach them to say things and lie in order that they should win the court case. Very good. Third part, the laws of basar v'chalav, milk and meat.